Costs for my third book launch are pretty high, but I've already exceeded my sale numbers from my last book launch. Let's break down all the figures for my third book, Tears of the Marigold. Hello writers in training, I'm Shannon, writing under the pen name SC Huston and author of the Clash of Goddesses series. And welcome to my channel where I show writers like you how to develop your writing skills and self-publish your work. Alright, let's start with what I spent to produce my third and final book in the Clash of Goddesses series, Tears of the Marigold. And then we'll look at marketing costs and sales during my 2-week book launch from June 6th to June 17th. Like with my other 2 books in my series, I made my own cover and I did all of my own formatting for the ebook and the paperback. So that cost me nothing but my time. If you're curious about how I made my book cover, then check out the video here. Here are things that cost me money. First, I used the services of Lindsay from Fiverr to do my book blurb. She also wrote my second book blurb, so I gave her a $10 tip on top of the $30 service. With fees added to the service and the tip, I paid a total of $46.20. I put her link in the description box below for those interested in using her wonderful writing. I also paid for one Fiverr beta reader. Maddie is the one paid beta reader I've had since the beginning of my series, so I also left a large tip for her last work. I also thought her prices were a bit too low, especially for the level of detail she provides for her feedback, and my last novel was 117,000 words. I also asked several questions, which she answered in addition to her feedback on the elements of writing. She only charged $35, but with a tip of $20 plus all the added Fiverr fees, I paid a total of $62.03. I found her feedback super insightful and helpful. So again, I put her link in the description box below for those who might be interested in using her services. Next, I paid for the same copy editor and proofreader I used for my full series. This came to $939.22. The highest cost I've paid so far, but that was because my final book was much longer compared to the 78,000 words for Blood of the Lily and 96,000 words for Soul of a Rose. Next, I paid for 2 ISBNs for the ebook and the paperback, which came to $59. And my final cost was for that one proof copy from Amazon, which cost $8.84. My total production costs for my third and final book in the trilogy come to $1,115.29. Now let's look at the marketing costs. I scheduled a total of 14 paid book promotions for the 2-week book launch for my Clash of Goddesses series. I also had 9 free promotions, and I will break down my entire promotional strategy in my next video. This video is concentrating on just Tears of the Marigold, as this is my current release. I want to point out though that most of my marketing was done on the first book in this series, because the advice is to always promote just that first book in the series with the hope that your readers will buy the rest of the available books. The costs paid for marketing done on Blood of the Lily and Soul of a Rose will be tacked onto those marketing costs for those books when I do my monthly income report for June. However, I had 3 paid promotions where I could add additional books. For one e-reader IQ, I could add on additional books in the series for $3 each, which I did for Tears of the Marigold. For the second promotion, I paid for a series post for young adult with free Booksy. The cost of that was $100. So for Tears of the Marigold, I will assign $33.33 of the $100, splitting the remainder with the other 2 books. For the third and last promotion, I paid to have all 3 books listed in CL Cannon's June Fantasy and Sci-Fi Book Fair. This cost $10. I also did 2 free promotions. For the first one, I had a free promotion available to use with Best Book Monkey, so I used it for Tears of the Marigold. For the second one, I posted my book to Indies Unlimited. The total money I spent marketing Tears of the Marigold was $46.33. Before moving on to how much my third book made during its 2-week launch, if you're finding this content valuable, please work out that like button. To see how much my book made, I will look at my KDP reports using the new reports from Amazon. Note that during the entire promotional period, Tears of the Marigold was priced at 99 cents. First, I click on Royalties estimator in the menu on the left-hand side of the screen. Then I choose all of the appropriate markers in the drop-down categories. I chose all of this month and not just my promotion dates for 2 reasons. One, paperbacks can be purchased, let's say on the last day of my promotion, but not ship and forecast royalties until after my promotion is over. And 2, although my promotion ended at midnight on June 17th, it still wasn't midnight in other countries, and the sale continued through the next day as far as my sales are concerned. So to gather a full picture, I need all the data for June for Tears Tears of the Marigold. And then I click on the download report button. On the report under combined sales, I sort the data by transaction type and then by date. If I had sales past June 17th, I would have deleted those, but alas, I had no more sales. Now I separate this out by ebook and paperback because I like to just see those numbers separately. Note that I had some pre-orders, 17 to be exact. I hadn't planned on doing pre-orders, but I wanted to be part of CL Cannon's book fair, and to get Tears of the Marigold accepted, I had to have a link to give by May 28th. After summing up the appropriate columns, I see that I had 159 ebook sales with earnings of $57.48. I also had 4 paperback sales with earnings of $14.56. However, I need to add in another paperback from last month. If you saw my video for my May income report, then you'll remember that I put up my paperback early for my reviewers, but didn't tell anyone. However, someone saw it and I had a paperback sale last month. So now I need to add it. So I have 5 paperback sales with total earnings of $18.20. Okay, let's see if I had any Kindle pages read under the KENP read tab. I did, but some of this was outside of my launch of June 17th, so I'm deleting those pages. After summing up what's left over, I had 46 pages read. I have to go back to the new KDP reports to see the estimated royalties, which won't be much with 46 pages. After choosing Kindle Unlimited under distribution and choosing the dates for my launch, I see I made 14 cents. Last, I had 1 physical paperback sale of Tears of the Marigold. Now, I wasn't planning on selling my 5 physical copies as I had a typo on the back. Plus, my flowers were a bit too faded. However, I had someone who didn't mind, so I also took off $1 of what I would have charged. The customer paid $12 for the copy, and after I paid $5.35 for the printing, $1.19 for shipping, and 37 cents for taxes, my profit came to $5.09. Adding together all ebook sales, online paperback sales, and my physical paperback sale along with my KENP, I made $80.91 for Tears of the Marigold during the 2-week launch. This is actually pretty good, and it's great compared to my last book launch. For my second book, Soul of a Rose, I only made $36.85. Granted, this was only a 5-day launch, but my earnings for the first month for Soul of a Rose only came to $59.51, which is still less than my third book's launch. So overall, this was a successful book launch for me. But what's my damage? The deficit for the final book in my trilogy. With making $80.91 if I deduct production costs of $1,115.29 and my marketing costs of $39.66, I'm $1,074.04 in the negative. Like I've mentioned before though, this is a long-term investment, so I hope to chip away at the deficit over time and with more books written. Plus, I had great downloads and sales of the first 2 books in the same launch period. I didn't hit the same number of downloads for Blood of the Lily as I did for my second book launch, but I still had a couple thousand downloads. In my next video, I'm going to talk about exactly what I did for my marketing strategies and costs during this third book launch to get those thousands of downloads and sales, as well as what I feel is working for selling my books. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today, and happy writing.